Will the new mutants escape vaccines? I want to understand this because across the world, and Britain is a good example at the moment, Dr. Gautam, where there is a fear that the B1617.2 vaccine, the so-called vaccine emerging from India, could be escaping some of the vaccine, or at least the antibodies may be escaping the vaccine. Is that a fear that we have? Some Nobel laureates are also warning about this. Do you fear that as the vaccine, as the virus mutates, some vaccines may not be effective with them?
It's a very good question, Rajdeep, and unfortunately, no one actually knows the answer for sure. But saying that, as you suggested earlier, a number of cases we have identified in the UK as well of the same variant. Mm-hmm. And the recent study conducted has suggested if you had one vaccine, it actually doesn't protect you much against the variant. So that's a study conducted on the Indian variant in the UK, so which is conducted in the last few weeks. However, if you have 2 doses of vaccines, so if you have Pfizer vaccine that gives effectiveness of up to 88%, whereas AstraZeneca gives protection of up to 60%. So it's going to put significant challenges for the reopening of lockdown strategy in the UK. But at least we have some protection with vaccine, and it's not escaping the vaccine completely. So that is the reassuring thing. And therefore, the government has massively scaled up the drive to have 2 doses.
The sense, therefore, I get is, except for South Africa, broadly at the moment, most of you at least seem to suggest that the vaccines at least work against ensuring against serious illness or hospitalization. Broadly, that seems to be the consensus at the moment across the world, really, even though we don't know what the future will hold with new mutants. Let's come to another contentious question. I want to get each of you on this with short answers to explain the concern that the world has. Is there a line of treatment that's actually working for COVID-19? Dr. Kuppalli, you're an infectious disease specialist there in America. Is there a clear line of treatment? Because the US, for example, was recommending at times remdesivir. The WHO wasn't. Is there a clear line of treatment in the United States?
Sure. So, yes, remdesivir is approved here in the United States for treatment. But I think the thing that people need to understand is remdesivir has been shown just to decrease your length of stay in the hospital. It has not been shown to improve morbidity or mortality. I think the only thing that's really been shown to be helpful in people who have COVID has been steroids, right? So in the recovery trial, they showed quite profoundly that people who get dexamethasone 6 milligrams a day for 10 days, that especially if they're on oxygen, that can help with their long-term morbidity, mortality from COVID. But in regards to some of these other medications that we keep hearing about, things like Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, tocilizumab, there really is not a lot of good data out there to suggest that they help in patients.
So are US doctors, let me get that correct, are US doctors saying no to Ivermectin, to tocilizumab? Are you all saying no to that? You would not use that? Most doctors in the US would say no to that?
We are not using ivermectin at all. We are not using hydroxychloroquine at all. I think in some cases where patients may be very, very, very sick, they may consider using tocilizumab, but that is it. We are not using, I've heard all sorts of different medicines like Flavifu and all sorts of different medicines in India, and we are not using those medicines here. There's no data to support that we should be using those medicines.
Okay, let me go to